All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and, hey, thank you guys so much for being here this afternoon. It's a pleasure to see all of y'all's faces and to be back in front of you on these Saturdays. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 2:15 p.m. on June 21st with a quick roll call. Member Calloway is present. Member Williams. Member Larsosa. Member Tyus. Member Chike. Member Robinson. Member Collins.
Present.
Member Parker. Member Hicks.
Present.
Member House. Member Hazel.
Present.
Member Ford.
Present.
Member Jack.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Excellent. We've made quorum. Moving down to line item number 2, approval of the agenda. Any objections to approving the agenda? Any amendments? Hearing none, the agenda has been approved. Line item number 3, approval of the minutes. Any amendments to the minutes?
No.
Hearing none, the minutes have been approved. Moving on to our treasurer's report. Member Hazel.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. And for those who are on Zoom, thank you also for attending. I wanted to bring you up to date. This information is also posted on the Reparations Detroit or Detroit Reparations website if you go to detroitmi.gov under the City Council, or you can just do a Google search and you will find us. So what was available for you to pick up at the registration or check-in desk is a document. If you did not grab one, I think, Evan, are we going to put it on the screen for the Zoom participants? Okay. Okay, so the Zoom participants or attendees, we're going to bring that up so you can see it also. So this is the Reparations Task Force, the Detroit Reparations Task Force processed expenses to date. This was issued June 4th by the City of Detroit's Office of the Chief Financial Officer, Office of Departmental Financial Services. So if you have a copy in front of you, you can follow along, and hopefully it'll be up on the screen for the Zoom participants. So just as a backdrop for those of you who may not have been attending the meetings from the beginning, which was April 2023 when we first convened our first meeting, April 13th, 2023. The Reparations Task Force asked for and received a total budget for fiscal year 2024 of $350,000. That was appropriated by the City Council, and it was authorized. And so as we went through 2023 and into 2024, emerging into 2024, trying to assemble research and information and input that you, members of the public, have provided us over the last 2 years, we found that there were some gaps. Even with the HARMS report, HARMS, provided as our academic partner, which was the University of Michigan, and the other report that we received, an economic impact report from Columbia University and Howard University Law School, we saw some gaps in information. You all told us because you had the ability to read it. It's on our website, and we had printed copies at several of our meetings. That report was released, or those two released last year in May and August of last year. So we requested for the 2024 fiscal year an additional $66,000 to bridge those gaps for any other research that we might need for other parts of the city that were not included in those reports, such as water infrastructure, discriminatory policies, practices, the highways that have been run through the city of Detroit. I-375 is not the only one that decimated, destabilized communities. There's also I-94 and I-96. I have relatives who were moved by the city who took their properties by eminent domain and moved them to another part of the city. So they lost wealth because those structures were much larger and grander around West Grand Boulevard than where they moved in the city in the 1950s and 60s. So that brought our total budget to $416,000. So that was for fiscal year 2024, and now we're in fiscal year 2025, which that year ends June 30th. The fiscal year goes from July 1st to June 30th of the next year. So right now, as you read along, you can see out of our $466,000, we have spent on salaries $186,000, $677.25. That's $186,677.25. Fringes, which includes payroll taxes for our staff, we have paid out $14,280.81. Operating expenses, meaning expensed, meaning vendors have presented their receipts, their invoices to the City of Detroit, which is a process. They go through the Oracle system, so they have to upload their invoices to be paid. We don't write checks, we don't distribute money, the City of Detroit does. So the operating expenses that have been paid out is $35,807.29. Okay, then the next line you will see operating expenses encumbered, and that's $6,267.14. And as your treasurer, I question that amount, so our project manager, Evan Daughtry, and myself, I've been in contact with the Office of Financial Services because based on some other receipts and invoices that I know have been submitted and are in a spreadsheet that we get of all of our expenses, that does not add up to that $6,000 amount. Total expenses that the city is telling us is $243,000 and $32.49. So $243,032.49 for a total budget of the $416,000. So we are being told by the city that handles our finances, distributes the funds, and is a recipient of the funds for us. Our remaining balance is $172,967.51. And I've talked with our project manager. I question that. For me, it's a bottom line issue. I believe that our bottom line number is less than that, and we need to know specifically because that will impact anything else we want to do. There are sometimes vendors do not upload their invoices in a timely manner. So they don't go through the process, the system, and they don't get paid. So that's what encumbered means. They're still sitting there. And we have, I think, six or eight of those right now on a spreadsheet that our project manager is going to look into as to why they have not been paid, how soon can we get them paid, and then that will deduct from that bottom line balance of $172,967.51. Some of those other line items that I've not seen that the city has provided might just be an oversight, but I want to be very specific because money and counting is very specific, right? And so I don't see line items for reimbursements, such as ourselves, parking, mileage, whenever we go to events. We, the task force, are not paid. We are volunteers, but we can get expenses like mileage as well as parking reimbursed. And so I've seen no line item for those reimbursements that have happened last year and this year. There's been travel in 2023 and 2024 that members of the task force have gone to attend other reparations conferences, and I have not seen any line items for those reimbursements for their hotel, travel, transportation. So I question the bottom line number because if those amounts are being paid for by another agency within the city of Detroit, that's fine, they just need to let us know. But if those expenses are being subtracted from our finance, from our budget, then that's impacting our bottom line. So that's why I'm very particular about line items. Everything that we do, even the cell phones that are issued to our staff, the city may issue the actual device, the laptop and the cell phone, and pay for it because it's an enterprise-wide purchase, because of course the city has a large purchasing power, but the airtime, I'm not seeing any line items for that. So there are a few questions that will impact our bottom line number that you're receiving today, and hopefully we'll have that all cleared up within the next few weeks so that we can have the actual running balance available so that we'll know what we have left to operate with, and of course, you will know as well. So that's what I have to present for you, and again, you should have been able to pick up a copy at the front desk, and yes.
Yeah, through the chair, if I could.
Yes.
We don't have it on the projector screen because media
Okay.
service doesn't have it, but we were able to share it on the screen for all the Zoom participants.
Oh, great.
And I believe everybody should have paper copies of it as well.
Okay, and this report will be on the Detroit Reparations Task Force web page, which is under the City of Detroit. So you can go to detroitmi.gov and then search for Reparations Task Force, and you'll find it. So you'll see these documents there. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them now, or you can always send an email with your questions to reparations@detroitmi.gov, or you can send them to me personally. My email address is detroitreparations@gmail.com if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hazel. Moving on to line item number 5, is there any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? All right. Moving on to new business, our DRTF presentation and update from the body. Member Jack, this might be all yours.
I think it's already on.
Good afternoon. I believe it's on. The light is on. Can I be heard? Okay, very good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Evan. We're going to get the, will the PowerPoint be on this screen as well? Yes.
You have to talk to the mic so they can hear you.
I'll wait for the, here we go. So this is the Detroit Reparations Task Force updates and presentation. We can go.
Oh, pardon us, can we get the volume up?
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so we're beginning here with the introduction. As it says here, this is the Detroit Reparations Task Force. We were seated in 2023, and we remain dedicated to the developing meaningful reparations and recommendations for the City of Detroit. This presentation summarizes key milestones from March 2024 to 2020 until now, June 2025. Is it difficult for you to hear me? Does it need to be, here we go, okay. So as I was saying, this presentation essentially is a update, a summary of what we have done as key milestones from March last year till June 2025. We were seated in 2023, February 2023, with a 80.14% support, and we're going to move forward. I think I'm just going to ask for next slide. That will help. Very good. So we have been doing a lot of work to find ways to make certain that we are engaged with the community, that we have your voices connected to this report and received from you all as much as we could in terms of how we could align the narrative. And so we did that through our public sessions as well as through community surveys. Next slide, please. And the data gathering included we took from the data gathering the top 10 highest recommendations from those who were surveyed, providing let me see here, home repair grants of up to $40,000 for Black Detroiters, prohibiting Wayne County from giving away any homes of Black Detroiters, increasing access to healthy foods by funding community cooperative grocery stores for Black Detroiters in vulnerable areas, reducing the tax liability of Detroit homeowners who were overtaxed by 10% for 10 years, upgrading the Detroit public school system, buildings to meet code requirements to include water and sewage infrastructure requirements, investing in infrastructure to ensure clean and safe drinking water, including lead pipe replacement for Black Detroiters, hiring an adequate number of teachers and teaching aides to ensure small class sizes of 20 or fewer students, offering Black Detroit homeowners auto insurance at reasonable rates based on income, similar to the state of Michigan, Michigan-based homeowners insurance, providing free nutritional lunch to every Black student. And in collaboration, the Detroit Reparations Task Force is actively working with prominent researchers in the movement to ensure the most comprehensive data is available for this report. Next slide. We have university partnerships in May of last year. After a year-long partnership where the Columbia University visited the city of Detroit, they met with local organizations and saw historical locations of harm. The Columbia impact was represented and distributed at the Detroit Reparations Task Force public session. The University of Michigan Harms Report was completed and presented at a Detroit Reparations public session in August of last year. The Detroit Reparations Task Force held weekly meetings with the University of Michigan to research and discuss the issues of housing, policing, quality of life, education, and economic development. And so, as a result, we began framing the report, defining reparations, and we have a detailed outline for the report. Reparations report was drafted, outlining the key topics and subtopics for consideration. The outline included a preliminary framework for reparations recommendations, exploring the pertinent areas for redress, and the Detroit Reparations Task Force identified relevant sources of information, including books, the Black Reparations Project, Dawn of Detroit, The White Bonus, articles and other publications, including the First Repair, National Symposium for State and Local Reparations, to inform this report. And we, in addition to this, included public feedback. We have quotes here that speak to what was coming from those public meetings, as well as what was received from the surveys. We can see here that there was inclusion from the Reparations Task Force roundtable discussion, as well as from a survey entry here. In addition to these particular survey respondents, we have others, including, we can move forward, including these here from the April 12th, this year session, as well as from last year's June 24 session. You can see that we've done our best to try to find a way to homogenize or bring all of them together under a certain category so that we're not missing any particular points of view, but that we're bringing them all together in a point of view so that we can incorporate it into the report appropriately. Next. And we continue to hear more information from, again, this year's 2025 someone who presented at a roundtable, speaking about cash compensation, as well as from a survey that we received in December of last year. Continuing forward. As was reported in our Treasury report, we do have an initial allotment that was given to us, and then we have the expenses that have been explained by our treasurer. I won't go further into that. Next slide, please. And then we have next steps moving forward. Finding ways to really coalesce all of the ideas and the work that we have done thus far. We hired the writer, and it says here on the 25th of this year, the task force presented our annual report to the City Council during a formal session. Task force members then answered various questions from City Council members and requested a 3-month extension at that time to our timeline. And then we want to continue towards the completion of the report to finalize the report with our writer, incorporating the community input, and expert analysis that we have outlined. The Detroit Reparations Task Force is requesting a timeline extension to October 31st of this year to ensure a meaningful report, reparations recommendations that pave a way for a more equitable future for Black Detroit. We are not requesting any additional funding, just more time to get the work done that we have begun doing thus far. We have a long-standing commitment to justice, reparative justice for Black Detroiters, and upon completion, the report will be presented to City Council, published and publicly released, sharing the findings and recommendations for and with the community. This completes this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Member Jack. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit different than the last couple of public sessions that we've hosted. If you've been with us in the past, there have been roundtable discussions. We're going back to our original format so we can have an open, large room dialogue around our updates, answer any questions you may have, and kind of get some feedback on the presentation and on the work that we've done thus far. So I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor. If you have any questions, or if you have any feedback, any comments, I'd love to go ahead and get this dialogue kicked off.
Good afternoon to everyone, and happy Juneteenth. I just want to first say that I am godly proud today because I had stopped coming to some of the earlier meetings because of the discord that was going on amongst our people. And if it took for the mamas to rise up and our Brother Gregory to remain, I just want to thank you because this report is a reflection of the time you took to get our feedback. In support of the very first recommendation, I think it was $40,000 in home repairs for Detroit homeowners. I would like to ask if we could also consider to make sure that we are looking at Black qualified contractors, a percentage being awarded those contracts, and whoever we are buying our supplies from, that they are not over-assessing for the supplies to rebuild our homes. And if we could also look at being given a waiver for whatever permits the contractors have to pull in order to rebuild the houses. Because one of the things that has occurred under the Duggan administration and the land bank, many of the homes have been stripped, requiring, especially if it's a home that's been taken through property tax over assessment, and when you're buying these homes, you have to actually go and pull a permit for everything that needs to be done to put that home back together again. So if we could look at a reprieve or eliminating having to pull permits for these homes that have to be put back together. And thank you so much.
And would you state your name? I don't think you stated your name.
My name is Joyce Jennings Fells. God bless you all.
And please forgive me when I start writing, y'all. I'm trying to take notes and make sure I'm accurately documenting the requests and the ideas, so I appreciate y'all's patience with me.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pamela Wilson Travis. I came in a little late. I don't understand the justification of this. Okay, I'm speaking, okay? Can you hear me? I don't understand the justification of this. So is this pertaining to the panel? Is this, these monies here?
Yes, so that was our budget. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. What you have before you is the budget. So what is your specific question?
It's the panel's budget?
It is the Detroit Reparations Task Force budget to
Okay.
facilitate all of the projects, research, printing, staff, office, everything that we need to operate. The Reparations Task Force members, there are 13, are not paid. We are volunteers. Is that your question?
Yeah.
No, we are volunteers. We are not paid. So everything that you see here in terms of salary, we have a project manager, we have a writer, those are paid positions. We have fringes, which, as you know, if you are working for an employer, you're paying payroll taxes. The way that this is laid out, you don't see all of the invoices for everything, the printing, everything that we've been doing, but under operating expenses, expense that incurs all of everything that we have paid for over the 2 years that we have been convened. And then the encumbered are invoices that have been submitted to us but have not been uploaded into the City of Detroit's Oracle system, which is how vendors get paid. And so what you see there, the remaining balance is reported by the Chief Financial Officer's office, which manages that. We don't touch any of the money. We don't see it. All of the invoices that come to us from Staples or the printing center at the Coleman A. Young Center, those invoices go directly to the city, the Chief Financial Officer's office, and they
Okay,
make
excuse me,
payment.
just to interject. What's being done for the community, for the
We-
residents? Because that PowerPoint that you dispersed to us, I'm in the city of Detroit, and I do a lot of work in the city of Detroit, and some of you all may know my face and know me. I deal with programs already, so it just seems like we're going around and around in circles because some of these programs I have been a part of from the pilot, and we're still doing the same thing. So again, I ask, what's beneficial for the residents of the city of Detroit? And we speak in reparations. Reparations mean money. So the money is going back into the city of Detroit and not to the residents. And these surveys, no, it's too many. It's too many surveys. Why is there surveys in the first place?
To gather
I'm trying
information.
to understand, how much information do you need? Because it's the same gathering of information, okay? I work for the city too. I work for the state. So no, something is wrong here. Something is wrong. And I'm not faulting anybody, but I'm stating something is not right. It is incomplete because the residents of the city of Detroit is still suffering. Still suffering. And you keep talking. Cut a check. Let these folks do what they want to do with their money. Because see, it's our money.
Okay.
It's
Let me-
our money. And that really, and that's all I have to say because really, I'm not here to hear this because I've heard it too many times before. I'm ready for an action. I'm ready for an action. See, I'm not out here just talking for my health. I'm out here doing the work. There is nothing beneficial from what you all are doing up there from me standing here, okay? It's not. So come up with another mechanism because something else needs to be done. No more surveys
Thank you.
because it's not necessary.
Thank you so
You
much.
don't have to like it, but it's no more.
Thank you. So I have a hand in the
Thank
front
you.
here, and I have a hand in the back there. Evan, I have one in the front first, is what I saw. Then I saw this corner to my right, your left.
Thank you very much. Hello to the task force, and I appreciate speaking behind this powerful voice. Some things I just want to mention. We're being invaded by immigrants, whether you want to call them illegal or illegal. There is no study done for them. They are getting a check right away, whether you want to call it reparations or not. They're not due no more repair than I am, okay? I'm from this soil, okay? My ancestors built everything that they see around them. We're not in this together, okay? We're Black Americans. We have a specific harm that has happened to us. So when it comes to pulling yourselves up by the bootstraps, the immigrants must do that for themselves. The citizens here deserve a check. Cut it. I also work for the city of Detroit, okay? So when it comes to reparations, it's cash. It's cash, it's cash, it's cash in hand. It's something tangible. And there was nothing on that list that represented anything tangible that will benefit Black Americans in Detroit. Nothing. It benefits everyone else. Pay Black Americans what is owed to them. Another thing I wanted to say is let's not merge our history with others, okay? Let's stay on topic, okay? And cash should be at the very top of the list. Juneteenth, Okay, we shouldn't be talking about Juneteenth without also talking about reparations. Okay, it is an American holiday. It is red, white, and blue. If you are sporting RGB colors or anything that's Pan-African, that's a conflict of interest. It's propaganda, and you're just perpetuating it. Okay, and I was at City Council this week, and I confronted Santiago head-on and told her about her disrespect. It had to be addressed. We are not immigrants. We do not have an immigrant background. So when we're talking about eligibility, I want to flush that out even more, because it has to be tangible and it has to go to those that it is owed. I'm going to gather more notes, but I'll probably be back to the mic. Again, my name is Portia Edwards. I'm from the Detroit Grassroots Coalition.
Thank you so much, Portia. I see the peach jacket, or the peach top, followed by the man in white. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Sister Deborah Mott Moore, and I'm here for the first time, so I know I've missed a lot. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time of anyone here. I want to know, was there a recommendation at any point about giving the residents, if they chose, the abandoned homes? Because there's an old law that says that if a house has been abandoned in any given city and is proven to be abandoned, then after a certain period of time, any citizen can claim that home and get title to that home. The law is called adverse possession. It's an old surveying law, and I would like to propose that, especially for the homeless, because all of the homes that are being torn down, some of these homes can be saved and can be given to the homeless with a grant, of course, to fix it up. So the only thing that would be a negative is to get rid of what they call a statute of limitation. That means if you claim a home that's been abandoned, you have to wait 15 years. You have to live in it or possess it for 15 years. If I'm proposing that we take a look at the concept of adverse possession and to get rid of that antiquated and unnecessary 15-year statute of limitation, that we may say the person have to live in that home for 5 years, showing that they cut the grass, fix it up, have good intentions, and intend to use it for something positive, that they be given title to that home. It's MCL 600 something, but it's called adverse possession. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Celestine Harris. I do a podcast, the Sister Celeste Show, and I've been talking about reparations for the last 2 years. And they have been bringing immigrants in, people, illegal people, and they're getting a check. Why can't the black people get a check? Where are they getting their money from? Get ours from there. We need to get together, get some law firms together, and sue them. And not only should America pay us, but Africa, our brothers and sisters in Africa that sold us out, owe us some money. And it needs to happen like ASAP. People sleeping in cars. They got their whole little families in cars. Kids are dying. When are we going to cut the check? All this meeting, we know slavery happened. We know it happened. We don't have to try to figure out if it happened or if we were brought here under duress. We were brought here on boats, you know, like sardines, you know, families broken up. It's a lot that's happened to black people. Cut the doggone check. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's
Thank you
get
so
some
much.
law firms and sue, get that money.
Thank you.
Yes, I do have a comment. My name is Roshan Harris. I'm a director of power building over at Eastside Community Network. My comment is this. Yes, we need cash. Yes, we need those resources to go directly to the citizens of Detroit, the black citizens of Detroit. But we also need to build our institutions, because it was more that was taken from us than just free labor. There was more that was taken from us than just the monetary benefit of this society in advancing forward. And I'm not interested in playing Oppression Olympics with any other minority group. It's not fruitful for us or for them. We need to be focused on how we get ours, how we repair ours, because this is what? Reparations. So that means we need to repair the damage that has been done. And so repair is not just money. Repair comes with a whole different level of healing, spiritual healing, intellectual healing, healing of the land. Right now on the east side of Detroit, we've got poison soil. We've got poison air. We've got poison water. And we just worried about the check part. If you're dead, you can't spend the money. So we need to also focus on all of these things. Yeah, we need to get paid. Of course we do. But we also need to focus on opening up black businesses with that money. We need to be doing things in a strategic way with that money. Because I'm going to tell you what happens. We get a big old check, what do? What's the first thing we do? And where does that money go? Back to the same folks who brought us over here in chains and shackles. Because if we don't have the institutions, the businesses, and all of the requisite things that we need to sustain ourselves as a people, all we're going to do is give that power right back to the folks that took it, attempted to take it from us in the first place, because it never left us. And we have to remember that. It never left us. So let's have some discipline. Let's have some discipline. Let's have some discipline in this process.
Please let everyone have an opportunity to speak.
We know we need the money. I did not say we didn't need the money. But if we please have, I'm not playing anything down. If you listen, I don't need anybody else to tell me to say anything right now. If you'd allow me to speak, all I'm saying is, because this is the stuff that we're talking about that's burning up all our energy, time, and talent, running around in circles, talking in circles, not going forward. Forward forever, backwards never. That's what it needs to be about. And stop going all back and forth with nonsense. Have some discipline. It's too important. It's 500 years of history. 500, not 5. So let's have some discipline about this thing, because that's where the love is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Evan, can you hold the mic for one moment? Ladies and gentlemen, let's act and have some respect for one another in this conversation. It's a very passionate topic. There is a lot of harm in this room that we've all experienced, a lot of trauma that we've all experienced, and this is something that definitely hits all of our heartstrings. But we have to remember that we are in this together. Every single idea that comes before this body will be and has been and is going to be considered. This is a massive puzzle that we're putting together. We're talking about thousands and hundreds of thousands of pieces. Each and every one of you is a 1,000-page book that's continuously being written. There are harms that are going to continue to happen to us, and trying to compile that into one report is going to take a lot of time and a lot of conversation. The back and forth is not fruitful, but we do want to make sure that everyone is recognized and respected. We have to consider everyone. So if we could please, when somebody has the talking stick, let them talk into the stick. Okay, can we agree to that with respect and love and passion? All right? This hasn't been easy for any of us. It's been a long, long journey. Y'all have no idea how many nights we've been up thinking about the stories we're being told, the evidence that's being presented in front of us. Leave my jaw open every day, because the more I'm learning from y'all, my neighbors, my family, my blood, about what's happened to you, because I'm not living your life, it takes time to consume those things and trying to make sense of it, enough to present it to the people who can make these decisions. So please, y'all, hug yourselves, hug your family, hug our team. This is a team. We're a team, okay? So I have 4 hands in front of me, and I want to make sure everybody has time to talk. I did leave a massive portion of this meeting open intentionally so that everybody can be heard and so that we can have constructive conversation, okay? Thank you. So I see Miss Portia in front of me. I see this young lady in the green, pink, black, and blue.
Get some
Oh,
people.
that's
Well,
understood.
she had
That
her
is-
turn.
So
Let
Portia, do
somebody-
you mind?
Yeah.
Thank you. So can we go to green? Over here, green. Okay, so you're right here. So blue, do you mind? I appreciate y'all, family.
Thank you. I think it's very important that we all hear and we all are sharing our stories. I'm Dakima Jackson. I'm with the Freedmen Agenda League of Michigan. So I know cash payments is controversial and people kind of feel a different way about it. For me, cash payments is important because I serve the community as well in Detroit. So I give out food that is given to the residents. And sometimes I sell socks for $2, and people don't even have the money to buy a pair of socks. So cash payments to me is very personal because I'm out there doing the work, and people need money in order to just survive for today. So even like when I'm selling T-shirts for $5, they don't even have the money to buy a T-shirt. So having some money in their pocket just to have clothes on their back, maybe to buy some food, maybe for gas and transportation, maybe to get a job, that's important. And if they're going to have housing, the other part is that it should be lineage-based specific. My family migrated here from Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, right? I found my family members on a plantation. When I was doing family research, I'm my family genealogist. So again, it's personal, right? And it's lineage specific. And for our family members that traveled here to Detroit, in order to have a better life, some of us ran away from the South because we were escaping the lynchings, right? So for someone to come here and is not from this country, did not go through the atrocities, and to say, hey, you know what? I want some reparations too, but I can't go to Jamaica and get reparations. I can't go to the Bahamas and get reparations. I can't go to any part of Africa and receive reparations. They're gonna look at me like I'm crazy, and they're gonna call me an American citizen, okay? So, and that's respectable. And red, white, and blue, I have family members, men who served in the Army. They fought under red, white, and blue. They didn't fight under RGB, the red, black, and green. And I respect the red, black, and green, but there's a time and a place for that. And Juneteenth is about emancipation of my ancestors, myself, and all of you who are a part of the American dream that has not been realized based on Reconstruction, and it was failed. So we're here to make sure we get past that cross line. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, family. My name is Miss Adams, and I'm with the Businessmen and Women Social Club of Detroit, but I'm also with Movement and Visioning for the Black Lives Matter. We, with the red, black, and green, our land, our blood, our sweat and tears went into this, and it's always a time and place for us to create our demands and align together with those demands. What we are primarily focusing on now is our policy agendas, our strategies behind our demands. If we can't particularly know how to structure the type of scenarios or that we vision for our communities, it's all has to look at tangibleness. But the tangibleness have to come with the same mindset or soundness of mind in alignment with our organizations. We have to stay in best practices with policy and global industry change. More or less, we have to bring into the industry our natural minerals, things of that land that we can gain equity from. We also have to look not just at the worldly harms, but the global harms, and what our equity can be when it comes down to our spiritual wealth, okay? We are deprived in so many ways, but we are very, very multifaceted in our design. And if we can't align with that design, unify that design with all our talents and expertise, then we're the ones going to lose out. We have copper processing, cobalt, lithium, uranium. But one of the main things that we have an issue here with in Michigan is the water quality and the pipeline number 5. You know, they want to move it around now. It's not really a big problem when it comes down to giving, the repair, but they're taking the regulations out of that. Do you know what that's going to do? So all the gas, mineral oil, and things of that nature that runs through that pipeline, they're moving it out of our equity line and moving it into another place. So we have to just really delve into some of these things that is happening, these machinations that's happening to help us to divide and strategically figure out how we can come together with all of these talents and tools that we have to offer our community, because we are very, very talented people, and each one of us have a particular skill set. And whatever you at, whatever organization or entity, delve deeper down into it and see how you can come up and run these, what you call it, Sambos out of here? Run,
The ops.
the ops, run them on out of here. Because if they sitting at these tables to try to give us a new agenda or catapult over our agenda, because a lot of people think that's what's happening here. Look at Wayne State University for one, Tech Town. It does not look the same. Okay, we have organizations that say that they represent us. We need to know if you really do. Even the corporations, we have to make demands, even with the hospitals. If we don't have enough of coverage for mental health, well, when they get these tax write-off or structures for our money to help them to build these structures, well, then what hospitals or things of that nature, you demand. You're going to give my people at least $2 million worth of free mental health services, or you ain't getting a quarter. Get on up out of here, because we don't need you like that. And if we don't make them understand that they're getting funding from us, that they're taking to use for other people's agenda, and we are very, very, very talented. If you don't dive into us, then you might as well just dive on out of here. And if you're already in here, we need to see that money. We need to see, we done gave you some money, now give it back to our community. And if you don't, then you might as well just go ahead on and look for more accountability or boycotting or whatever we got to do to get you out of that position, because you're not doing our best interest. You're not helping us.
Thank you so much.
Universities and things of that nature, what I'm saying is we have to stay with best practices and look at the global aspects of the industry, how we can process the natural minerals and how they leave in our community right up under our noses.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So there's a young lady in pink, black, blue, and then we're going backwards.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Latoria Williams. I just kind of wanted to piggyback on what this young man was saying as far as cash reparations. Yes, everyone needs money. We do understand that, especially with, how costly everything is. But I'm going to say this because Hosea 4:6 says, my people shall perish from the lack of knowledge. So we can have all the money in the world. We are we're the second largest group as far as consumers go. We spend the second largest amount of money in this country. We have our spending power by 2030 will be $1.7 trillion. That means we have some money because we're spending it. So my thing is, you get the money, we can have all the money in the world. If you don't know how to spend it and how to use it and how to budget and strategize it and things like that, it's going to be going right back to them.
Thank you so much for that comment. So there's a young lady in the black right next to you. Did you?
I did have a comment. Hi. I wanted to have Ms. Celeste have an opportunity to share. I want everyone to know that everything that you're saying is valid. I've been following with you guys, you all know, since day one.
Thank you.
However, there are people in need who do need their money. We do need to be re-educated. We need to re-educate our community on how to invest. There is a lot that needs to be done us yelling at one another is not going to get it. We are and have been going in a circle for the last 2.5 years. It's time to stop. If we have a budget, and I know how it goes, if you all saying we have this budget, let's make some cash payments. Let's re-educate our people, get a building, have them come in, because us taking advantage of each other is not doing anything. You're not getting anywhere. You're taking from a poor person. Go to Beverly Hills. Go up the line to the top of the chain and take from them. But to take from ourselves is detrimental to our race of people. Stop yelling, stop screaming. Let's look at one another and let's truly help one another, because there are some that are not being helpful to each other. Robbing from each other is not getting you anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. We've gave reparations to 2 cultures, the Holocaust victims and others. That was over in another country, but yet we paid them. We need to be compensated. And let me decide what I want to do with my funding. But in the meantime, take the money for this budget. Let's get one of these old schools. Let's renovate it and let's re-educate. Okay? I love you all, but we can't get anywhere. Stealing the line and manipulating each other. Okay? We all need to do better, and we don't need that many people on the board. It don't take this long to get something settled. It doesn't. We wasting time and dollars. So this should be our last meeting. I wish the president was here of the Reparations Task Force so he could hear me. Y'all see me looking around. Don't be funny, Mr. Davis.
We don't have a president of the Reparations Task Force. It's 2 co-chairs and one of the chairs is here. Okay.
All right, so there's Mr. Yep. And then you have one in the back and one here in the front.
Yeah, my name's Jerry Goldberg. I've been a resident of Detroit for 55 years, and I'm an attorney who was very active in fighting the massive mortgage foreclosures that devastated our city and intervened to fight on behalf of retirees in the bankruptcy. You know, driving to this meeting today, just driving down Kirchville, what did I see? Empty fields, boarded up buildings. That's not what Detroit looked like in 2005 even. Detroit was a great city because we were a city where working people, and especially African Americans, owned homes. We had neighborhoods. Detroit had the highest black ownership rate of any city in the country. What changed? The banks came in with a criminal scheme called a subprime mortgage scheme. And it was a criminal scheme. I represented people where they would go in and lure people into loans they could not afford and then steal their homes. From 2005 to 2015, we had 65,000 families lose their homes to mortgage foreclosures in Detroit. 139,000 of Detroit's 384,000 homes were eliminated due to this scheme. And let me make clear, this was a criminal scheme perpetrated by the banks. When I say the banks, it was every single bank. And why did they do it? Because they went into Wall Street, they would sell these mortgage subprime loans as mortgage securities and make huge profits off them. And when they all failed, what happened? The government bailed them out. The same banks then, what they do, when the city didn't have any funds anymore because we lost so many homes, the banks put the city into loans they couldn't pay. And they had what they called criminal interest rate swaps. I can explain them to you, but they were criminal loans they put the city in. And it ended up devastating city services, led the city into a bankruptcy that devastated the city more. And what was that bankruptcy about? It was to steal the pensions of our retirees, of the workers who built this city, to pay off the banks. That's what it was all about. 78% of the funds for the bankruptcy, the bailout from the bankruptcy, came off the backs of the retirees. So let me just say this. When we look at where the funds for reparations, the funds are there, they're owed to us, and they're owed by the banks who destroyed this city. And Detroit, now what are we? We got to look at the deep pocket. Now look out, we're going to pennies for reparations. The banks owe the city, and they owe every black city, and they owe black people, and the banks were also partners in the slave trade. Every major bank was a partner in the slave trade. So we're not talking about just recent history, we're talking about the history. So I want to stress this. Let's have a vision. It wasn't immigrants who destroyed Detroit. It was the banks who destroyed our city. And it's the banks who have the funds to produce it so the people here can figure out how to rebuild our city and take those funds that were stolen from us back to the people. And I just want to stress that. I can't stress it enough. If we don't look at the real deep pocket, we're going to be arguing among ourselves on how to distribute nothing, because the funds are there, and they're owed this city. They're owed by the banks that destroyed it. Detroit should be a symbol, because it wasn't just destroyed. 50% of black wealth was eliminated from 2005 to 2010 as a result of the subprime mortgage crisis. Yes. It was eliminated because of the war perpetrated by the banks. So let's keep this in mind. Let's go over the real source of the problem. The source is the banks who destroyed it. They owe the reparations. They're the deep pocket that can provide it. And then with that deep pocket, the people here will figure out how to use that pocket to rebuild our city, make sure the poor people, that we don't have people living, as the woman described, in cars. Let's go back to bring Detroit back to what it was, a city of working people, a city of proud homeowners, a city that has pride, but to get it back, we got to go after those who destroyed it. It isn't the immigrants, it isn't the people who destroyed it, it's the banks who did it.
Thank you so much, Attorney Goldberg. If I could just take a moment to thank you for being our partner in this work. You've provided us presentations and your writings and all the evidence that you have backing this bank fight. Thank you so much for helping us and for supporting this work the way that you have and for being at these meetings. We really appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. I see one in the back, one in the front. Help me out now, y'all. Speak up. I can't hear. Who going? Y'all know I can't see. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Staley. I'm with the Wisdom Institute. I'm the Policy Planning and Development Manager there. And as I'm glad to see that the task force has hit reset. And to keep it on the bright side, I won't make any other comments regarding that. However, reparations can't begin without healing. There is quite a bit of passion, not just in this room, but throughout the city. And so whatever our plan looks like, it needs to be rooted in some type of healing. The Wisdom Institute, we approach our work and the solutions that we come up with involves some type of healing. So I employ the task force to make certain that your plan includes healing. I'd also like to see the task force website updated. We are very emotional, yet you can't make decisions based upon emotions. Once you remove the emotion, it's time to be educated. Educate yourself before you can inform others. And there is very little information on the website for anyone to have a discussion with at the kitchen table with their family, let alone their immediate church members or the community. So I'd like to see more information placed on the website and have the website updated. And I encourage you to become involved with the Department of Neighborhoods. There are quite a few community members that are on those Monday evening calls. And I am certain they would appreciate a representative from the task force giving a 5 or 10 minute update on those calls on Monday evenings. If we do a little more of that, maybe the temperature in the community will come down and we can really approach this from an educational, methodical perspective. That's all I have to say about that. If you'd like the Wisdom Institute to partner even further with you, we can have some conversations on that.
Thank you so much. So we're going to take about 2 or 3 more comments from the audience before we talk to our audience members online.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Canty. I'm a former City of Detroit employee. I worked in planning, housing, public lighting. I am now a caseworker for the state of Michigan, and cash payments are needed. However, once I was in housing, we did provide our homeless people who were living in cars and all this other stuff in garages or whatever, free housing, new appliances, and in 30 days, they were all gone and stole our appliances. And so it's not just give them a place to live. If you give them a house, they have to be able to support at least keeping the utilities on. So we don't, like you said, we don't want to just waste money and time, because it's more to that than just giving them a home. Because if we give you a house and then you cannot upkeep the house or even pay your utilities, they wind up leaving the house. And then you got another problem, because then they crackheads come in and steal all the stuff that we put into the house. We put in new furnaces, new roofs, new hot water tanks. And then the person we gave the house to has no income. So once winter rolls around, DTE comes in, cuts off the lights and gas, they leave the home. And once they leave the home is vandalized or becomes a drug house. So it's not just giving them money or giving them property. They need to have a total assessment of what their life is going to be. And as far as they have to have a minimum amount of income to sustain themselves. And we need to get an education. There are so many opportunities now. We have Michigan Reconnect for people who need to go back to school. It's free tuition. We have down payment assistance to buy you a home up to $10,000 from MISHDA. So there's things that we need to do, and I wanted to add to this young lady. Will this PowerPoint be added to the website of what has occurred, so that people will have some information? And I did have a question on how your study has come along. Have you actually had any determinations of what the reparations will look like? Have we had a list of compiled with anything, or are we still deciding? So that was my thing of how are we, where are we out now? Are we just still studying and gathering information, or have we actually started to compile a list of demands?
Thank you so much, Ms. Canty. So to really quickly answer your question before we go to the gentleman in the gray, and then end with Ms. Portia before we go online. I'm sorry. You have some? Okay, so we'll go gentleman in the gray. Oh, Evan, you're going to be all over the place. Gentleman in the gray, young lady in the back, and then we'll end with Portia before going online. Thank you, Portia, for your patience. Okay, so about the process of writing, we do have an outline of how the report is going to be laid out thus far. We are in collaboration with our writer to ensure that we stick as closely to that outline as we can to ensure readability, to make sure that our narrative is explained correctly and accurately, to include all of our community feedback. We will be cutting off community feedback July 31st. So if there are any more stories or any more information you'd like to give to us, July 31st, because if we do not stop that stream of information, this report will continue to grow because there is a lot to include. So July 31st, our email box will be open. July 31st for all of your stories, any more feedback, any more ideas, thoughts, community partners that you'd like to connect us with. July 31st is the cutoff, because y'all, we got to get to writing now. And then, yes, the outline, we have about, yes, so our outline is about 14 pages. It does include our narrative, so not only how we came to be as a task force, the discussion about our community partners and how they were involved in this writing, some conversation about our public sessions and how they went, but also the story of what happened municipally. Our harms analysis, all of our partner reports, some of their information will be included in there, and then going into our recommendations. So we're trying to figure out how to organize it, if we're going to put the harms and then the recommendations under said harm, if we're going to just group all the programming together and recommendations at the end. So we're still figuring out how to lay it out, but the content and substance of the report is being added as we speak. So again, July 31st is the last day for y'all to get y'all stories, any evidence, any ideas, any feedback, any commentation to us via email, okay? So yes, gentlemen in the, we got one more. It's reparations@detroitmi.gov. reparations@detroitmi.gov. And on our website, the city website, you'll see all the books that we've been reading to inform ourselves about the harms that have been happening in the city and throughout the nation, so you can read along with us at your leisure. You'll find both the reports from Columbia as well as University of Michigan. Got a couple hundred pages to read there. And then you'll see, of course, our surveys. There have only been 2, our community survey as well as our eligibility survey. So if you have not had the opportunity to participate in either one of those, please, again, go ahead and give us your feedback and your ideas and thoughts around that. What else is on the website? All of our minutes are on the website. Our expense reports are on the website. So whatever you think is missing, please make sure to let somebody know before we go so we can make sure it's added, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. How's everybody? I hope everything is well. Like a very spirited debate. My name is Andre Walk. I'm the former president of the 9th Precinct Community Relations Council from 2013 to 2018. When Sister Joanne Watson was a part of this board, when she was living, I got quite a few invites to come and, communicate with the task force, possibly join it. But I worked so much, I just didn't have the time to do it. So this is my first meeting coming to, and I like what I see. However, I have a question. We talk about land and property. That was part of the reparation conversation in regards to slavery. Slavery was meant to prevent us from having that. So now you have the Land Bank Authority. The Land Bank Authority is taking properties and giving them away to organizations which are creating spaces for development. I have no problem with that. The problem I have is if the Reparation Task Force were to be deemed by Supreme Court tomorrow, and Supreme Court grant us the rights for reparations, what are you going to do with that property? How are you going to get it back from the Land Bank Authority that's giving it away to developers, that's developing it on land, and people don't have the opportunity to get the use of it? Are you going to tear the structure down that people developed to put it back into the residency's hands? Or do you put a plan together to stave off or stop the Land Bank Authority from ushering it out now until this thing is resolved? That's the question. It's no disrespect to anybody, but let's understand where we're going here. See, these other organizations are being created to stop these opportunities from coming down the track. So if you're going to do anything, you man up and warming up and say, listen, we can't keep losing out on opportunities through slick processes. That's where Detroit is going. But because we get pushed into desperate situations and get pushed against the wall, we reach out and act out of desperation. We have to change that model. It's a fact. When I was the president of the 9th Precinct Community Relations Council, I dealt with over 210,000 residents, myself. And my board, I organized 88 block clubs, 1,100 community members. I did that. And we were quite active. I see some familiar faces in here that were a part of a lot of the marches that we had, the whole 9 yards. So we believe in fixing problems. If we're going to do that as a board, fix and solve problems. Don't time for arguments. That's obsolete. The community needs to understand that every time an opportunity is given to us as a people, they come up with another plan to oppose it. So let's get it done one step at a time. The problem that you're facing now is that you have a land bank authority and a reparation task force that's mitigating each other, offsetting. Land is being given away while you're trying to get land. It has to be done correctly. My name is Andre Wong, and I plan to attend more of these meetings so I can get a firmer understanding of what's actually going on. I appreciate your time. Thank you. God bless everybody here. Make a movement.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Evan, if we can get the gentleman in gray, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for getting the microphone to speak. Man, I came here today, just wanted to pass. I came here today, okay, I came here today, just wanted to pass out a few flyers talking about my organization, which is trying to push through a Michigan legislation bill for Michigan Task Force on reparations at the state level. And all of the information that you guys, all of the stories and everything that you all shared really had a really big impact on me in spreading this message. But I'm gonna go ahead and just toe the company line. My organization is called Freedom Agenda's League of Michigan, and we're gonna go off of this. Greetings. We have got exciting news. The Freedom Agenda League of Michigan has officially launched our letter campaign to introduce legislation that would establish the American Freedmen Reparations Commission in the state of Michigan. This historic bill would create a state-level commission tasked with studying and developing. I know some people don't like that studying part, but nonetheless, the whole part of it is that I'm stopping here in reading this. The whole point. This is strategic. At the end of the day, it's the federal government that's going to have to pay. America is a sovereign nation, it's a monetary sovereign nation. It's the only one that can pass the bill that can pay for everything that we're talking about. It's not at a city level. We basically paying ourselves back with reparations. It's not at a state level because we're citizens of the state. At the end of the day, it's the federal government. So part of our strategic or our strategy is like listen, multiple states campaign, argue for reparations at the state level, and try to push this to make it to national politics at the end of the day. So many of us, vote for Democrats, some vote for Republicans. I don't do neither. At the end of the day, we have to make this a litmus test as a people to say, hey, listen, what are we going to give our vote to at the end of the day? So I'll end at that. The ultimate point of my discussion was to say, listen, I passed these out. We're trying to get a state commission on reparations for, again, a strategic goal at the end of the day. For that push for federal, because at the end of the day, that's the only one that's going to be able to pay this bill. I appreciate the man right there that talked about the banks, but it ain't the banks. It's the United States government. That's the only one that's going to be able to pay the bill that's owed to us. It's a monetary sovereign. We saw that, yeah, true, but at the end of the day, they take that from them. At the end of the day, they're the only monetary sovereign that can create the money. We saw it in COVID. They created it out of thin air, trillions and trillions of dollars. At the end of the day, we have to push for a federal reparations bill at the end of the day. No, HR 40 is not it. So.
Thank you so much. We'll have two more before we go online.
My name is Tyrese Kirkland. I serve as a community liaison for Transition 123, a nonprofit that provides transitional housing for homeless and domestically abused women. I also serve as a nurse, as a psych nurse for our mentally ill patients in our community. And then I'm also a flipper of homes. So I'm on the ground with building the homes, one by one. We take them one by one. We stay on the same blocks. So I hear everything that everyone is saying here today, and I appreciate everyone's contribution to what they've said. I appreciate the Reparations Task Force for what you guys are doing, all the data and analysis you guys have connected. You may not be up there yelling, fussing, cussing. That is not the way. The way is through strategy. We have to continue to get data. People are paying hundreds of millions of dollars on our phones. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, that is what's most important. Data is very valuable. It may not always look that way, but data collection is the way. Collectivism is the way. We've only got this far through coming together through collectivism. Everybody's points is valid, like you guys said. I've been listening to everyone, your frustrations, the pains, the sufferings. We are all on the same page. Every day, we're tired. It all boils down to, a lot of it is just us being tired and fatigued. So we want to check today. That can help solve a lot of issues. However, like everyone has said, that if we don't know what we're going to do with it after, if we're not putting our money back in our communities, each and every one of us have an opportunity today to make sure that at least 90% of our money is spent back in our communities, with our black contractors, with our black grocery stores, with our black t-shirt companies. Support these children. They're out there. If it's a lemonade stand, no matter what it is, those are all of our dollars. They go back. You may not see it today, tomorrow you may not get a check back from these people, but eventually, over time, I promise you, it does come back to our communities, and it does help strengthen us in a whole nother way, because we could be waiting another 10 years for reparations, okay? This is a start. This is a pilot. All of it cannot be done in 1 year, not even 2. It's going to take us continuing the penetration. Sometimes you see things happening over and over and over. If we have to meet in this room and do the same meeting over and over and over again, no matter what, something is coming from it. We are accelerating in this moment. And so I just want to commend everyone that has been coming to the meetings and everything at the task force, because you guys are members. You are unpaid members. That budget, thank you for allowing us to see where our dollars did go, where the money went. A lot of times that is lost in the air. So you guys also are taking that extended time to make sure that we have the data outlined, and we appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Our last one will be Portia before we go online. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. To the gentleman who was speaking about banks, I question if you would be eligible for our reparations. I'm not so sure if your belly button is connected to chattel slavery here in America, but if it is, congratulations to you. I also did not say that immigrants destroyed Detroit. What I said was that immigrants are replacing Black Americans in Detroit, and it's been a strategy from the state level to the city level for over 11 years.
Ms. Edwards? I'm going to ask that all comments be directed to the body.
That is written.
Thank you.
Okay? So I just wanted to clarify some of the misinformation that was put out there earlier. So I just wanted to let that be known, that when we say that immigrants are replacing us.
Can we have one comment at a time? Thank you. Let's be
We
respectful.
are looking out for ourselves. That's what Black Americans must do. I think that kind of draws a consensus around what everybody has said, is that Black Americans need to start looking out for themselves and no one else. We need protections. That's what we need. The city of Detroit's police department last year, or this fiscal year, paid out about $60 million in wrongful death suits, okay? 40 million of that, okay? That's not a hyperbole, that's real. And Black Americans, I feel, need protections in the city of Detroit as well as on a federal level. I just want to speak to the stimulus check that was sent out. If you look at the data, Black Americans actually spent those resources on immediate needs. Okay, they didn't go to the club, they didn't go to any of those frivolous things. They actually spent money on things that was needed. So do the research, look at the data. No need to yell at people. I did want to note that $40,000 in home repairs is inefficient. I also wanted to throw out some resources. I did not see them on the website. I did go, but you need to have From Here to Equality from Dr. Darity on your book list. Please push it to the top. Another one is Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. I did not hear neither one of those resources presented. Please push those to the very top of your reading materials. When will the outline be available to the public? And I think that's it. Thank you so much. And as far as the eligibility, I mean, I guess I kind of already addressed that, but it is time that we, as Black Americans, yes, start supporting our own and just look out for us, not anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If we can go online.
Through the chair, it looks like we have currently 8 people with their hand raised online.
Okay.
The first one being Ernest Russell.
Okay. Mr. Russell?
Hey, can you guys, if I could be heard, I'll just say happy Juneteenth to the task force and to the family in the room. I think people already highlighted it, that Juneteenth has a special connection to reparations and getting justice done for our people in the United States, specifically, even in the city of Detroit. And when I say our people, I mean the descendants of persons who descend from slavery, because that is how this ballot initiative came to be. It was built off of the energy of historic injustice done to legacy Detroiters who migrated up from the South and who may have resided in Michigan at the founding of the city. I think you guys had the ethno history reports that showed that there were disparities across the board impacting this community. And the end goal of this task force should be to come up with remedies that actually address those. And I seen in the top 10 highest ranking recommendations from surveyors, there were the 2 or 3 initiatives related to housing. But looking at the other initiatives, all of that was status quo city policies that the city of Detroit, people who get elected, should be fighting for every day outside of reparative justice. There is no way in no world that you make free lunch programs an idea of reparations for the policies that have actually impacted the Black families in the city of Detroit. In the same instance, there's no way that upgrading Detroit building codes to meet requirements, including water and sewage, is to be considered a reparations policy, because that is standard city policy that must be addressed every day, every year if there are inadequacies. And so what I want to say is I urge you guys to reconsider the prioritization that has been received from these surveyors. I think from the crowd, you have already heard that there should be some aspect or component of cash. There should be some economic component that the city could pursue. And if funding is going to be an issue, the one person brought up the corporations and the banks, you have to remember that one of your recommendations could be a tax, 1%, 2% tax on corporations and banks that may have had a hand in this economic disparities for the community. And that could help fund policies for cash pilots. It could also help fund economic programs in the city of Detroit. And the last thing I would say is, I am with the Freedmen Agenda League of Michigan. 2 of our members have spoken. This issue that we're facing when it comes to reparations is deep. It ultimately rolls up to the federal government, but if we're being strategic, we gotta recognize that Michigan has a role. So I would urge those folks that's in the room to support that QR code that's on the back of the form that our members have, to tell the state that you also support reparations recommendations in the state of Michigan. And what we want to do, or what we want to see, is Detroit follow through on the concrete policies that would include either cash or economic stimulus, or that would include an office for descendants so that we can continue to build on the short, medium, and long-term scale. But also at a state level, it's time to get Whitmer, it's time to get Garland and all of these other folks off of their ass to support true justice for the descendants of slaves in this state. With that, I'll conclude my comments.
Thank you so much, Mr. Russell.
The chair, the next public comment is Norrell Hemphill.
Ms. Hempill?
Yes, peace and blessings. My name is Mariana Hemphill. I have the honor and the privilege of serving
as the legal and policy manager at We the People of Detroit. I just want to say thank you to the Reparations Task Force. We have been engaged in this effort for reparations in Detroit since the first meeting, April 13th, 2023. So we've seen the iterations of the task force and all the work that has gone into this thrust. One of the things that we continuously raise is water reparations. April 5th, we did a presentation on water reparations in Detroit, which goes back to emergency management and the theft of our asset, the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, which is really worth about in the billions of dollars, in the tens of billions of dollars. And there's different studies that value and state that valuation at different levels. One of the things that I wanted to raise is it seems like we still need a study of assets lost from 2000 to present even, I think would be a damning number. A lot of our assets were lost under emergency management, again, like the Water and Sewage Department, Eastern Market, Belle Isle, and so on and so forth. If you ever go to Cobo Hall, there's a plaque that was actually built by City Council. It was built by Detroiters, established by City Council. There's a plaque that reflects as much. So that's another asset that was Detroit's that's been privatized. So I think that there does need to be a study done of Detroit assets. And then there needs to be a way to capture the stories of people. Again, I thank the Reparations Task Force for doing the work that they do. I know that you are volunteers. If there's money in the budget to compensate people or hire people, there needs to be a way to capture these stories out in community. I know that was an early idea, and I just wanted to lift that again. And I'm thinking of something like what was done with the Charter Commission. The Charter Commission had meetings in the evenings, and they had public meetings to gather the stories and the information for community members. So I think there's still a need for that. That goes beyond the survey. And then finally, I just had a quick question. As far as the rider, thank you so much for finally installing a rider as of February of this year. Can you share with the public for transparency the RFP process and the rider staff? And also with the rider, will you be hiring an editor or other staff members? Because again, this is a great charge, and I'm just frankly not sure that it can be done by one person. Other places had a team of people doing this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pimpill. To briefly answer your question regarding the writer, she has identified October as her desired deadline, and I'm very confident that she can get this work done by then. She has also requested and perhaps has suggested to us that she may need some consultants, so we are going to reach out to our established community partners in the instance that she does need a little bit of assistance in some topics that she may not be the most knowledgeable about. So I think there's quite a few of them, and I know we've spoken to you in regards to water, but in regards to the RFP process, in order to onboard her as quickly as we could, we did put out a massive advertisement and kind of call to order for people who wanted to be interviewed for this position, so looking for candidates citywide to fill this role, and I think we had that going on for a couple of months, so we luckily landed her in February. And that's how she became our writer. So yes, she's been working really hard. And again, we will be reaching out to community partners in the instance that she does need additional research or any assistance in writing some segments of our report. Can we have the next caller, please?
Through the chair, the next public comments are online is T. Ridley. I believe that's Terrence Ely.
Mr. Ridley?
Through the chair, he is unmuted.
I'm not sure. Mr. Ridley, are you with us? We can come back. We'll come back to Mr. Ridley. Thank you.
Through the
Hello,
chair.
can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hey, I'm at work right now. I usually be there, but I'm at work. And I just want to say, like, we at a milestone where we either going to have to beg folks for jobs, for life, for health, and everything else, or we going to have to get the reparations to repairs, so, the study and everything's good, but it has to be cash and it has to be some type of tax break because we cannot compete with these people economically. I'm sorry, they make the money, so they're gonna always have people above us. We could try all day, we got Bruce Smith, who's a billionaire who owns LM Manufacturing. We got Benny Johnson who owns Pistons Automotive. These are billionaires, and they can't even do anything for the black community. So we gotta keep everything in perspective and be realistic about what we're saying. The little stuff we're doing individually, it doesn't really matter. And our Detroit reparations is basically for us, and this is going to carry on for the rest of the country. So we just gotta just put the cash on the table, put the tax breaks on the table. And like the sister said earlier with the vacant houses and everything, we got the vacant houses, we got the schools, and the folks who do spend their money, that's on them. But let's worry about the folks who are going to use our money for the betterment of our people. You know what I'm saying? So that's so we need to stop focusing on what folks are going to do with it. That's wrong, and focus on what we're going to do with it. That's right. That little small percentage that's going to blow to the money, let them go. That's going to fuel the economy. That's going to prove why reparations should be given in the first place, because everybody's getting money now. Everybody's, the currency is moving around. But that's about it, though. Y'all. That's about it. I'm going to go back and listen, though.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ridley. We have about 15 minutes left. Any other online callers?
Through the chair, there are about 5 more public comments. The next one is Tony Everett.
Tony, are you with us? Are they unmuted? Hello, Tony?
Through the chair, she's still muted.
We can move on to the next, and we'll come back to Tony.
And through the chair, the next public comment is Shannon with Detroit Grassroots Coalition.
Hi, Shannon.
Hello. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I wasn't there in person. I really wanted to be today. I really think this is one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a turning point. Like one of, this meeting here is really important to have been in. I wanted to say, just listening to some of the people here, that I want us to be careful not to parrot anti-black tropes such as, like the brother just mentioned just a few minutes ago, about not worrying about how other people are going to spend their money. Portia and I, with the Detroit Coalition, we are actually on the ground, and when we actually speak to people, you do hear that that's one of their number one concerns is how the money will be spent by other people. But I encourage us to reframe this and kind of look at this more as a debt, meaning that it's something that is owed. When we go to assess hurricanes or other natural disasters and people are owed those monies, we don't ask them where they're spending the money. And that's kind of bringing us to one of the questions that I have for the task force, because one of the, I want to say in one of the discussions that we had, it seems like you guys are concerned about the money being spent in Detroit, in the place that we were basically harmed at. And I just wanted to encourage us to look at this as more as, like, again, a debt. Oh, it shouldn't, where we spend the money, how we spend the money. We would want good, best practices for spending money, and we want people to be financially literate. Maybe when we're talking about cash reparations, that's one of the things that we should consider is getting people financial literacy but that shouldn't be the all, end all, be all, because if it's a debt owed, it's a debt owed. How it's spent not anybody's really, shouldn't be anybody's concern. And to piggyback on what Portia was saying earlier about the stimulus being spent, when you talk to people, they actually spent that money on their needs. So it's a long trope that black people don't know how to spend their money when we are probably the most fiscally responsible people when you think about it, because we know how to make something out of nothing. But we don't have money to just blow like that. So anyway, I wanted to say also, as far as our fight being just federal, I think that the harms, if we focus just on the federal, which is very important that we get the money from federally, but we shouldn't exempt state, we shouldn't exempt the city harms. As we look at the U of M report, just a very small microcosm thing of the harms that we endure here in the city, including terrorism, redlining, inadequate housing, discrimination, almost on all levels. The city should be responsible, as well as the state, as well as federal, for the harms that they specifically committed to Detroiters. So my questions to the task force is, I like to say that we've been advocating for cash reparations from day one, through letters, through the news, to you personally, and I want to know how serious that is being considered as part of a comprehensive package. Will the final package be restricted to descendants of slaves here? And I know that you said that the report is being turned in on, I think, October 31st. Did Mary Sheffield have any say on how, or when the report was being turned on? It seems like that's very close to her election. I don't know how much feedback we're going to get back from the report, us turning it in, when we essentially could have a turnover of people on the council and even a mayor, and a whole different mayor.
Could you restate your question, Shannon?
How serious are y'all about cash reparations? Will it be part of a final comprehensive package? Will it be restricted to descendants of slaves here in Detroit, as we descend from chattel slavery here? And and how are we going to get feedback from a report that's being turned on the 31st when we have a big election here in the city? When Mary Sheffield may or may not be mayor. I know this is her grassroots initiative. And that we might have a whole nother council. Is that something you guys considered when choosing that date?
Yeah. So the reason for the October 31st date is to ensure that we get this done before the flip in administration. We definitely want to make sure that we have reviewed this writing a couple of times before October 31st, but once we do give it to City Council, it will be in their hands to act on our programming and our recommendations. When it comes to cash reparations, of course, y'all, that's a given, okay? So I don't even know why we question that. That's our #1 recommendation. It's going to be at the top, because I know I need some money, okay? I'm not even getting paid for this. So it's going to be at the top. But y'all, we have to understand that the mindset that we have, that we can't have everything that we demand, we got to get out of that, because we can get it from we can have everything. We have to demand everything. They owe us everything, okay? So we got to take it one step at a time, so we can make sure we itemize everything, okay? So we want to give them an itemized receipt of everything that they owe us, everything they have to pay for, but it's everything, y'all. So it's not one or the other, from you or who. It's from everybody, everywhere, all the time, all at once. That's what we're working towards. So we got to break it down, and this time is for itemization, okay? We're in the itemization process. Can we have our next caller? Thank y'all.
Yeah, through the chair, the next public commenter is Adelia.
I'm sorry, what was the name?
Adelia.
Adelia.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for this very organized, structured energy that is being projected here. And I'm going to go right to some structural conversation. the lady with the light green and the black graphic on her shirt that was talking about best practices and policy structure and spiritual wealth through procedures and maybe even contracting people to start doing these things for the next stage of the reparations allocation fund projects is really critical and very important, and I appreciate her for getting to that type of conversation. Even the allocation of contracts for the last couple of months need to be really flushed out a little more for services, even if it's just for somebody to put on a fundraiser for children's diapers. I mean, you know, we have people in the town now that use $25,000, $10,000, and we do have $150,000 sitting in the fund only lasting up until October. That's a lot of money, to be honest. But that's another discussion. I want to talk about structure of distribution of funds and how many subcontractors got any work or anything through this process. I don't want to go there. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to go to the next level of discussion, which is, I'm going to run through this quickly. Brand development and department name the division of this program, the city program, structure to set up next stages for Detroit Reparations fund distribution, projects, and programs. City of Detroit RFPs need to be created for city housing needs, nonprofits helping local needy, economic development, coordination with groups like Invest Detroit, MEDC, and the United States Empowerment Zone. All of those entities have money right now. 1.5 million can be given to a development project right now. But until we start allocating and pinpointing this process that comes through the city's department, Friedman Department, whatever you want to call it, and brand it, I'd like to help with that, because I'm a designer by trade. But it needs to start to move in that direction so that we can structurally give out our grants to our small community nonprofits, give out our development funds. I know they've been giving out development funds to renovate old buildings and clean up, you know, commercial properties all over the town, and a lot of those grants and contracts have been given to people from out of state. A lot of those men come from New York. We have to get control of this fund distribution process directly. And it needs to start to happen as we get past this, setting up this outline, and I don't want to see an 800-page dissertation. I'm so sorry. I really don't. I think it's that easy that we can develop our distribution process for the Detroit Reparations Fund activity by after October. That needs to be set up ASAP. And all of these different fund distribution activities needs to be set up and created by a private RFP development company of black people who know how to do this, who are from private sector. We need to allocate and use private sector black businesses of color at a certain level throughout this process consistently. No more white people doing analysis, no white people doing studies. Stop. Stop. There's a lot of black professionals out here. We have to start utilizing us better, because otherwise we're going to keep leaving.
Thank
People
you
go
so
to
much.
Syracuse, go every place else but here, California, Atlanta, because they're tired of the country bumpkin thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that we're country bumpkins, but it comes off that way. And all of these people running the city, they fly in here from out of state. They're interlopers. They're running city government. They're not even from Detroit. Okay?
Thank you so much,
We need
Ms.
to work,
Adelia.
pull it together.
Thank you.
Through the chair, the next public comment is Tahira Ahmed.
Ms. Ahmed?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for all your good words. Sorry I'm not there in person, but it's hot. I'm with the Black Legacy Coalition and with Coalition for Property Tax Justice. And I think that people are so smart, girl. We in good hands. And we're so smart that we can handle our own money. We don't need anybody telling us what to do with our money. We can do what we want to do with it, but I do suggest that we set up a pre-events commission that will help direct, make sure our money is going in the right place, make sure that it goes to where it is meant to go. For instance, for the homeless, we want them to get free housing. We want them to be helped when they get to housing so that they handle their business correctly, and the Freedmen's Commission would do that. Would help them make sure that they use the homes properly and get what they need for their homes. And that's as an example. Also, Johnny Cochran had set up, was trying to get reparations. Let's kind of look at what he had in mind, because he started something that's really big. And I think that we can utilize our black lawyers like Jeff Edison to go after companies like the banks. I agree with Mr. Goldman that we need to deal with the banks. Chase Bank is notorious, admitted that their culpability in slavery, the enslavement of our ancestors. So they need to pay up, and that's why I think the attorneys would be good to use them as a, to go after these people and using the law. Also, if we are going to make sure that we get this done by October 31st, can you please put on there, we want payments now. We want payments like they give to the Indians. Let's look at how the monies was distributed, received from the Indians, the Japanese, and the Jews. We can use that as a blueprint for how we get ours. And I don't think that it should be a one-time payment. I think there should be a major lump sum and regular payments every year or every month, like the Indians get, like the Japanese got, and like the Jews are getting. They still getting money. So it wasn't like that where it's just a one time. No, it was regular payments. And we can utilize people who know about how we should spend our money and what ways to invest. That's all I have to say. And thank you so much for all you, free health care and free advice from lawyers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ahmed. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Do we have a motion for adjournment? The time is now 4:03.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn? Oh,
no, I'm sorry. I got a quick announcement. This is my part-time, not paid hustle here with the DTRF, but at Mac Development, we own the coffee shop laundromat called The Commons. Detroit Book City is there giving a book, music, and food festival for Juneteenth. It goes on until 5 o'clock, and then right after, we have the Vision Detroit every third Saturday. They have an open mic also with art if you want to do some art therapy. And the open mic has been in the Metro Times as one of the best Friday parties to go to in the city. So you all are invited. It's free. Well, you got to buy the books, though. The address, I'm sorry, is 7900 Mack Avenue. And when you pull up, Mack and Van Dyke, when you pull up, it is East Side. It is a coffee shop laundromat, so don't think you're in the wrong place.
all right. With that being said, thank y'all so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Thank y'all so much for being in this work with us. Keep reading, keep studying, keep collecting those statements, and we'll talk to y'all next month.